A storm has been brewing quietly all season long, and now it's reached a breaking point, the kind of issue that can derail everything, from a promising rookie's development to the outcome of a critical late-season matchup. As fans get ready for Sunday, there's one glaring problem that can no longer be ignored, and it might just be the deciding factor between victory and another frustrating loss. Let's talk about this and much more, but first click the like button and comment. In your opinion, will the Browns win this matchup? The Cleveland Browns are heading into Week 12 with a glaring issue that's simply impossible to ignore any longer, and it could very well be the deciding factor in the outcome of their matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's cut straight to it. The offensive line is a mess. And I'm not talking about average struggles or minor technique flaws. I'm talking about one of the worst performing tackle units in the entire National Football League. Out of 76 total offensive tackles graded by Pro Football Focus, Cleveland's trio ranks near rock bottom. Cornelius Lucas is sitting at 75th with a 42.9 grade. Cam Robinson is right above him at 74th with 43.4. KT Leon, 73rd with a 44.7. And our so-called best tackle, Jack Conklin, is hanging at 57th with a 57.3. If you're trying to figure out why Shedeur Sanders is running for his life every other snap, there's your answer. This isn't just a one-week problem or a recent downturn. This has been a consistent flaw all season. Against the Ravens, the breakdowns were humiliating. On one play, 3 linemen ended up blocking a single defender, leaving another to sprint free at Shedeur. On a crucial 4th and 5 late in the game, Wyatt Teller was beaten instantly, and by the time Shedeur planted his foot on the dropback, it was already too late. Receivers weren't even out of their breaks. What do you expect him to do? And then you've got KT Leon letting his assignment through like a turnstile on another 3rd down. Jerome Ford turns around mid-play, doing absolutely nothing to protect or contribute, just another free pass for the defense. Time after time, Shedeur had pressure in his face within 2 seconds of the snap. Even Ethan Posick, one of the more stable interior guys, was flat out beat, forcing Shedeur to reverse course and take a loss. This isn't a young, inexperienced unit getting their bearings. These are veterans like Joel Bitonio and Jack Conklin getting worked. On one play, Conklin is beat off the edge. Shedeur tries to scramble, and all he can do is salvage a few yards on a 3rd and long. These aren't isolated plays. These aren't even from the whole season. This is just from the second half of the Ravens game alone. So where do we go from here? Well, if you think the matchup against the Raiders offers a break, think again. According to PFF rankings, Cleveland owns the 30th worst offensive line in the NFL. The Raiders? They're 31st. Only 2 teams in the entire league are worse, and they're about to square off in what could be a sackfest for the ages. You've got Max Crosby on one side, Myles Garrett on the other. And in between, a whole lot of problems. Let's talk about Shedeur Sanders for a second. One of the knocks on him coming out of college was his tendency to drift backwards when feeling pressure. And that's definitely shown up in both the Rams' preseason game and the Ravens' matchup. To be fair, there were moments where his mobility helped him escape and extend plays, which is more than what you could say for Flacco or Gabriel earlier this season. But there were also times when drifting made the sack even worse, more yards lost, more drive killers. Now to his credit, when the protection held, even just slightly, Shedeur showed exactly why the Browns are intrigued by his potential. Late in the 4th against the Ravens, with the game on the line, he delivered a dime to Harold Fannin Jr. over the middle for 25 yards. That throw alone flipped field position and gave the Browns a shot to tie. And then there was the near game-tying throw to Gage Larvadain in the back of the end zone. Tight coverage. Defender got a hand in. But if Gage comes down with that, we're having an entirely different conversation this week. And that leads us to one of the few positive developments heading into Sunday, the return of wide receiver Caden Davis to the practice squad. Mary Kay reported he's back, and it wouldn't be surprising to see him elevated for the Raiders game. Now why does this matter? Because Davis and Shedeur already have chemistry. Remember the Panthers' preseason game? 2 touchdowns from Shedeur to Davis. One was threaded perfectly between 2 defenders. The other came with pressure in his face, thanks to a great block by Amari Marshall, and Shedeur kept his eyes downfield, found Davis again, and dropped it low where only his receiver could get it. That kind of connection matters, especially for a young quarterback who hasn't had a single first-team rep until now. In practice, he's mostly thrown to guys like Davis and Larvadain, the young, hungry receivers. and that chemistry could give him a sense of rhythm in a game where every snap might be under duress. Now, reporters asked Shedeur if he'd push for those younger guys, who call themselves the Hungry Dogs, to get playing time with him. His answer? "See, I ain't got that much motion here yet. I got to win some games first." Classic Shedeur. But whether he's lobbying or not, the reality is Davis might get his chance anyway. Jamari Thrash hasn't practiced. Malachi Corley and Isaiah Bond could be next up, but Davis could sneak in and make a difference. So here's the question, Browns fans, how much of a difference can that chemistry really make? Can the return of Caden Davis and a bit of comfort for Shedeur offset what's been one of the league's worst offensive line performances all year? What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Does Davis make an impact this Sunday, or are we destined for another week of blown protection and missed opportunities? If you ask me, Davis might not be a game-changer in terms of racking up 100-yard games, but when a young quarterback like Shedeur is under fire every other play, just having a familiar target to lean on can make all the difference in critical moments. He knows Davis's timing, he knows where Davis will be on those scramble drills, and that trust is something that can't be manufactured in a week. Especially when your entire offensive game plan might hinge on quick throws and improvisation due to poor protection. And speaking of protection, it's not just about the sacks anymore, it's about what this is doing to the development of a quarterback the team seems invested in. Shedeur isn't just trying to win a game this Sunday. He's trying to show that he belongs in the NFL, that he can lead this team beyond 2025. But how is that possible when his pocket collapses on nearly every dropback? This line isn't just failing the offense, it's jeopardizing the future of the franchise. Let's not forget how damaging this has already been for guys like Flacco and Gabriel. We've seen it. No rhythm. No timing. No chance. They were sitting ducks. Shedeur at least has the legs to escape, and occasionally, the poise to make something happen. But you can't build consistency or confidence under those conditions. The sacks become more than lost yardage. They start chipping away at a quarterback's decision-making, mechanics, and trust in the system. So now, going into a matchup against one of the best pass rushers in football in Max Crosby, the pressure, literally and figuratively, is higher than ever. The only saving grace? The Raiders' offensive line is just as bad. If this turns into a sack-heavy game, it might be the defenses that decide the outcome. Myles Garrett, as always, could be the X factor. If he dominates, he might swing the game back into Cleveland's favor, especially if the Browns' offense can just manage to stay upright long enough to put together a few decent drives. That brings us to the bigger question, what happens next? Because this can't be the long-term plan. The tackle situation is a disaster. Lucas, Robinson, Leon, they're not getting it done. And if the Browns don't seriously invest in rebuilding that line this offseason, it won't matter who's under center. You could put a prime Brady or Mahomes back there, and even they'd struggle behind this group. It's not just about this week, it's about protecting the next several years of Browns football. One encouraging note, though, when Shedeur has been given even a glimmer of protection, he's flashed the traits of a starter. The throw to Fannin, the near touchdown to Larvadain, those weren't flukes. They were NFL-level throws made under pressure, in crunch time. If the Browns can patch things up just enough to give him a fighting chance, we might start seeing more of those flashes turn into drives. Into points. Into wins. And with the addition of Caden Davis, that comfort level increases. Even if he gets a handful of reps, it matters. For a quarterback navigating a chaotic pocket and limited experience, every familiar face helps. Shedeur himself said it best, he doesn't have that much motion yet, not enough say in personnel. But his play could change that. This is his chance to prove he deserves a voice, deserves a future here. As we head into Sunday, watch for the chemistry between Shedeur and Davis. Watch for whether the tackles can hold up even a little longer than usual. And keep your eyes on those critical third downs, because that's where the game will be won or lost. Can Cleveland protect well enough to give their rookie a shot? Can Shedeur make enough plays to make it count? We'll find out soon enough. In the meantime, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and click on the next video on your screen for more exclusive Browns content. The latest updates, the real breakdowns, and everything you won't hear anywhere else, you'll only find it right here. Go Browns!